This isn't just a story, it's a warning, because once you hear the wrong echo, it might already be too late to run. The first story is about the man in my room. 11:50 p.m., the first glance. I live alone in a small apartment. One bedroom, one bathroom, a tiny kitchen, and a living room that barely fits a couch and TV. It's quiet, peaceful, the kind of quiet that feels safe. Until tonight. It started as I was getting ready for bed. I brushed my teeth, turned off the lights, and climbed under my blanket. As I reached for my phone one last time, I caught a glimpse of something in the reflection of the black screen. A man, standing in the corner of my room. I froze. My pulse hammered in my ears. My brain struggled to process what I had just seen. The room was dark, but I could make out a faint shape, a tall figure unmoving, blending with the shadows. I didn't dare turn my head. Instead, I stared at my phone screen, heart pounding. The reflection showed him right there. But when I forced myself to glance at the corner, nothing. The corner was empty. 11:55 p.m., the second glance. I let out a shaky breath, my fingers gripping my phone. It's just my imagination. Just a trick of the light. I turned my phone off. And then, in the absolute darkness of my room, I heard it. A breath. Not mine. It was slow, heavy, raspy, like someone exhaling right behind me. I felt paralyzed. Every muscle in my body screamed at me to run, but I couldn't move. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, listening. Then, something shifted. The sound of bare feet dragging lightly against the floor. Moving closer. 12 a.m., the third glance. I couldn't take it anymore. I shot up, flipping on my bedside lamp. The room was empty. The air was thick with silence. Nothing moved. No shadows. No sound. I let out a weak laugh, rubbing my face. I need sleep. That's all. But as I reached to turn off the lamp, I saw them. Footprints. Faint, damp footprints leading from the corner of my room to the side of my bed. I stopped breathing. My eyes followed the trail, my mind refusing to accept what I was seeing. Then, the closet door creaked open. 12:03 a.m., the shape inside. I wanted to run. I wanted to scream. But all I could do was stare. The closet door hung open just an inch. Just enough. The dark space inside seemed deeper than it should be, like looking into a void. Then, something moved. I didn't see it. I felt it. A shift in the air. A presence. Then, from the darkness of the closet, a whisper. You saw me. 12:05 a.m., the reflection that lied. I lunged for my phone, turning on the flashlight. My heart slammed against my ribs as I shined the light toward the closet. Nothing, just an open door. Clothes hanging neatly. No footprints inside. I forced myself to breathe. My head throbbed. My thoughts swirled. Lack of sleep. Stress. A hallucination. I needed to calm down. I turned to face my dresser mirror, and there he was, standing behind me. Tall. Unmoving. His face was wrong. His mouth too wide. His eyes too deep. But the worst part? I couldn't feel him behind me. I could only see him in the mirror. 12:07 a.m., the wrong smile. I bit back a scream and spun around. Nothing. I looked back at the mirror, and he was smiling. A slow, unnatural grin stretching across his face. Then, without blinking, he raised his hand and waved. My reflection wasn't waving, just him. I stumbled backward, my stomach twisting into knots. My breathing came in sharp gasps. My mind raced. Then, the mirror cracked. A hairline fracture spread from the corner like something was pushing against it from the inside. Then, a whisper inside my head this time. Let me out. 12:10 a.m., the blackout. I ran for the door. My fingers fumbled with the lock, my breath coming in ragged gasps. Then, darkness. The lights went out. The air turned freezing. And behind me, footsteps. Soft, slow, coming closer. I didn't want to turn around. I couldn't. But then I heard it. A breath, right against my ear. Then, I'm already out. 12:12 a.m., the last glimpse. I don't remember what happened next. I woke up on my floor, my room perfectly normal, my closet shut, my mirror unbroken, the lights on. It was like nothing had happened, except for one thing. I turned on my phone camera, flipped to the front-facing view, and in the black screen, before the camera loaded, for just a split second, I saw him, standing right behind me, smiling. 12:13 a.m., the final whisper. I don't know what's real anymore, but sometimes, late at night, when my phone screen goes dark, I catch a glimpse of something standing in the corner, just watching, just waiting. And every night, the closet door is open, just an inch more than the night before. And our first story was it. Here we go for the second one. Title of our second story is The Thing That Followed Me Home. 11:45 p.m., the walk home. I don't know when it started. Maybe it was tonight, or maybe it had been following me for weeks. I just know that tonight I became aware of it. I was walking home from work. It was late, too late for the streets to be busy, but too early for absolute silence. Just that eerie in-between time when everything feels off. I live about 6 blocks from the subway station. It's a straight walk, nothing complicated. The streetlights flickered a bit, but I was used to it. I was halfway home when I first felt it. A presence. At first, I thought it was nothing, just my paranoia. But then I noticed the sound. Not footsteps, not breathing. Something worse. Something that sounded almost human. Like the rustling of clothes, but stretched, distorted, like someone was dragging their skin against the pavement. I turned around. Nothing. The street was empty. I shook it off, walked faster. Then I heard it again. And this time, it was closer. 11:50 p.m., the shadow that moved wrong. I reached the front steps of my apartment and fumbled for my keys. My hands were shaking. I told myself I was just imagining things, that it was the wind, that I was tired. Then I looked down, and I saw the shadow. Not mine. It was elongated, stretching across the pavement, moving when I wasn't moving. It twitched, jerked, like a puppet with its strings cut. I felt my breath catch in my throat. My fingers finally found the keyhole. I shoved the door open, slammed it shut behind me, locked it. I stood there, my forehead pressed against the door, heart pounding. Silence. And then, scratch, 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 from inside the apartment. 11:55 p.m., the uninvited guest. I turned slowly. The apartment was dark, except for the faint glow of the streetlights filtering through the curtains. Nothing looked out of place. My couch, my TV, the kitchen counter, everything was exactly as I left it. But the air was wrong. Heavy. Thick. Like something else was in here with me. Then, tap. A sound from the hallway leading to my bedroom. Not a footstep. Something light, like fingertips tapping against the floor. I stepped forward, heart hammering. My apartment isn't big. Just a few steps, and I was in the hallway. I reached for the light switch. Flipped it on. Nothing. Just my closed bedroom door at the end of the hall. But something was off. Then I realized. The door was open before I left. 12 a.m., the breathing behind the door. I stood there, staring at the door. I knew I had left it open this morning. I always do. I hate the feeling of a closed bedroom door. I reached for the handle. Stopped. And that's when I heard it. A breath. Deep. Slow. Not mine. Coming from inside my room. I stepped back. My whole body was screaming at me to run. But I didn't. I forced myself to reach for my phone. I turned on the flashlight. And I pushed the door open. The light hit the bed, the dresser, the closet, nothing. But then, I saw it. A shape. In the corner. Crouched. Facing the wall. 12:03 a.m. The wrong shape. It wasn't human. It had limbs, but they were too long. Arms bent the wrong way. Its skin was stretched too tight, as if it had been wrapped in something that didn't quite fit. And its head. It was tilted too far to the side, as if its neck had been snapped. It didn't move. Didn't acknowledge me. Just breathed. Then, it twitched. Once, then again. Then its head snapped toward me, and I saw its face. It was mine, but wrong. The mouth was stretched into a grin too wide. The eyes were black pits. It didn't blink. It just stared. Then it opened its mouth. And in a voice that sounded exactly like mine, it said, "Why did you let me in?" 12:05 a.m., the crawl. I dropped my phone. The light spun across the floor. I scrambled back, heart racing, my mind screaming, "Run, run, run." But before I could move, it crawled. Not walked. Crawled. Fast. Too fast. Its bones cracked with every movement, its grin never fading. I lunged for the door, slammed it shut, locked it. I backed away, my hands shaking. My phone was still on the floor, casting light under the door. Then I saw them. Fingers. Thin. Pale. Pressing under the door, reaching. And then they started tapping. Tap. 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 Like it was waiting. Like it knew. 12:10 a.m., the whisper under the door. I pressed my back against the far wall, eyes locked on the door. I wasn't breathing. Neither was it. Then, a whisper. "You shouldn't have looked at me." The voice was so close. Too close. Like it was speaking inside my head. I grabbed my phone, hands trembling. The flashlight beam shook as I pointed it at the door. Silence. No fingers. No shadow. Just the door. I reached for the knob. And something knocked. Once. Then again. Then. The lights went out. 12:15 a.m. The last thing I saw. I don't remember what happened next. I woke up in my bed. The room was normal. The closet was shut. The door was open, just like I always left it. It felt like a dream, except for one thing. My phone was still on the floor, and the screen had one notification. "Unknown number, can I come in?" And then, as I reached for it, my bedroom door slowly creaked shut, and a whisper right next to my ear. "You already let me in." Thank you guys for your attention. We are done for tonight's stories and can't wait to have your attention, guys, from tomorrow night. Goodbye.